Hello, my name is Austin Lehman, and welcome to the third week of Austin Weekend. Here with me once again is my dad, who's a complete fool once again.
A goofball. Mm-hmm.
Complete goofball.
Yes.
And this week we're going to talk about Kung Fu Panda, the TV show that airs on Nickelodeon. And what a mess of a network that is.
Right now it is, yes.
The show ran from September 19th, 2011 to June 22nd, 2014 with 80 episodes, 70 that are aired, 10 that are online. That's a lot to spit out.
Well, that was a lot of episodes. It ran for, almost 3 years then?
Yeah, the show continues the trend of Kung Fu Panda.
Mm-hmm.
It follows right after the first movie, and as Kung Fu Panda sets out to become the Dragon Warrior, and trains himself to become a more successful Dragon Warrior, training with the Furious Five once again.
Mm-hmm. I like the way in the episodes you get to see more of the individual characters. You get to know the Furious Five, where in the first movie they were just sort of a group and they fought together. You didn't get to know, like, that is one good thing that the cartoons do, that they sort of show you the personality of each individual character that's in the Furious Five.
Remember those 2D animated skits between Kung Fu Panda 2? Those skits that were kind of like told a little bit of a backstory at the same time, telling a unique tale. The show has the same thing, and it looks like a movie quality, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's got some really good qualities in it. Mm-hmm.
And it had some funny laughs. What could be a Kung Fu Panda movie without some funny laughs?
No, he's definitely still Poe. There's no doubt he's a goofball. He makes fun, even again in the serious fighting moments. He's a goofball. Something goes wrong, and he still wins, but he's still a goofball. Something messes up in the middle of everything.
Yeah. Speaking of goofy or completely out of nowhere, the villains were just completely goofy too at the beginning.
Yeah, the first sort
couple of
bad guys
were just crocodile troops.
They were stupid.
They couldn't even find a barn in a haystack.
They were sort of bumbling, stumbling morons. They're bad guy wannabes that really weren't
that strong.
Really weren't that bad or good at fighting. But it made for good comedy because they were bad guys. And
now let's talk about the comedy in the later episodes that we watched. Was there a significant change in that?
Well, some of the later episodes got a little bit darker.
It introduced a scorpion lady who once was the leader of medicine, poked herself and became twisted and evil and all that stuff.
Yeah. So, where the villains were a little goofier in the beginning, they made them a little bit more serious later in the shows.
Of course, this is an action show. You can't really have an action show if you're just going to continuously throw bumbling idiots at us.
No. So, and they did have good fighting scenes in it. They had really good action scenes. For it to be a television show, they still had some good animation, some good fighting scenes.
It also had a few mentions of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Like Master Oogway, which was the first movie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the cartoon series just carried on. It was like it's part of the canon. It's part of the storyline.
I think it leads to the second movie. That's what the show's creator said.
Yeah, yeah. They actually, like I said, it tells a little bit of the story of Poe, how he's becoming more and more of the Dragon Warrior. He's still a bumbling goofball. He still can't run and keep up with it.
He can't outspeed a snail.
No, he can't outrun anybody because he runs out of breath and gets tired. I loved in one of them where he was running, and he was with Monkey on that episode. And Monkey was outrunning him, and he was like, "I'll catch up with you." And he ran out of breath and said, "Don't throw up, don't throw up, don't throw up."
That was a pretty decent joke.
He's out of shape, yeah. But it's good. The actions are good, and you get to know the characters better.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of the premise of the show? Of the recycling things, like recycling Poe trying to prove himself to. He was really trying to prove himself to the people that he was really reliable. and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Well, again, I think that's them trying to develop the character. Where in the first movie he was just not instantly, but he was thrown into being the Dragon Warrior, and he didn't have any practice at being the Dragon Warrior. He didn't know what to do or didn't know how to.
And then this villain just came out of nowhere, and
Mm-hmm.
and then everyone went to panic except for Master Oogway, who was alive at the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you watched our first episode, you can go watch that about Master Oogway.
Mm-hmm.
And that pretty much tells us more about Oogway's past. In
Mm-hmm.
one episode,
Yeah.
he was involved with the Scorpion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, that is right. They bring some of the older characters back into the cartoon series, which makes it again like part of the whole storyline, part of the whole canon of the whole Kung Fu Panda story, which is good. I like that they have morals. There's even like a little moral story in each little episode. You know, like being a better person or trusting people or being nice or whatever. There's a little moral in each little cartoon, like there was in the movies.
Moral?
Yeah, just a little moral, just about being a better person or a good person or not being mean or whatever, you know. So it's not all goofball. There's a little.
Yeah, a
Something
show
to it.
shouldn't really be all goofball. They have to have a comic relief to
Mm-hmm.
comprehend with their stupidity
Mm-hmm.
in order for it to be a little more tolerable.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have someone serious to comprehend the stupid.
Mm-hmm. That's what I say. There's a good story
That's the
involved
golden
in
rule
each
in
episode.
comedies.
Mm-hmm.
Is-
Have a good story.
That's That's one of the golden rules in making movies too, not just TV shows.
And that's why a lot of stuff fails or it
Just falls flat on its face.
sucks because they don't have good characters or good storylines. It's try to throw something together.
Yeah, usually a movie or a TV show doesn't have a good plot, doesn't have good characters, doesn't have any good jokes. Either that or the jokes are just pathetic attempts at jokes or puns that are not funny.
Mm-hmm.
And they just suck in every way.
That's where the Kung Fu Panda stuff is different. It's good quality. It's got good storylines.
And
Got good characters.
and it's about time we got to the action sequences.
Mm-hmm.
Though not as good as the movies, it's still decent in overall. It's pretty good for what it is.
For a TV cartoon show, yeah, I think it had pretty good. I think it
The
had pretty
TV
good.
quality isn't as nearly as good as movie quality. Let's admit that right in front of this camera.
No, they don't have the budget. They don't have the money available that the big movies do to sink into the shows. So you have to sort of take the shows for what they are. But I thought, like I said, it was still good to me for what it was.
Yeah, it was pretty. It was well choreographed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The fight scenes were good.
Yeah. And that's pretty much all of our consensus on the show as a whole. We pretty much tackled what was there and what was throughout the whole show, through what we saw.
We can mention too that it did win the 2014 Daytime Emmy Award winner for Outstanding Children's Animated Series. So it got some rewards or awards from
Professional award givers.
Yeah, from the people that look at them. Yeah. So
that's pretty much all we have to talk about.
you wanna give it a good rate? Do you want to give it a good rating then? You want to go from our 1 through 10 rating again? 1 for being yuck and 10 for being the most excellent thing ever.
Yes,
Wh-
we
what
should
do-
we should stick with that.
Okay. Do you want to do the
Dumplings.
dumplings? We always do the dumplings because why?
Poe's favorite food is
Poe's
dumplings.
favorite food. It seems like there's dumplings in almost every episode, aren't there?
And speaking of which, there's dumpling in every there's a dumpling in every episode. At least
Yeah.
one or maybe half of a dumpling.
Some kind of dumpling. They mention a dumpling, eat a dumpling, something.
The finger touch thing is back in the show. Mantis uses it quite a few times when he fights.
Which are really cool. The nerve.
That's another mention of the movie.
The little nerve points, the little pressure points, whatever they call them.
The pressure points.
Okay, but for 1 being just and 10 being super excellent, how many dumplings do you give the Kung Fu animated television series?
I give it 8 dumplings out of 10. It's not as good as the movies and how spectacular they were in every way, and how well their villains were developed, and how strong the hero lead is. Although it does have that one little, irksome thing. Besides that one thing, I think it was 8 out of 10 for me. And that's pretty much all I have to say on the rating part. How do you rate it?
I'm just about the same as you. I would probably give it about a 7.5, 8 out of 10. And probably if you compared it to other cartoons, it might be higher if you compare it to another cartoon. But,
that doesn't have a premise.
But because you're comparing it to the movies, they were so good. You know, they're 9.5 out of 10. The movies are, that you have to be a little bit harder rating the TV shows because you're comparing it to such excellent awesomeness and bodaciousness of the
movies.
of the movies. But it's still very.
They're the crowning achievement of DreamWorks' entire existence.
They're definitely worth watching, and you can go, like we picked up this
on eBay
DVD here. It was like $7.50 for, and it's got 20 episodes on. So I mean, you can find these relatively cheap. Go back and watch them. Even if you watched them before, they're worth going back and watching again. They got a good story to them. But overall, I think it's a very good part of the whole canon, the whole storyline of the Kung Fu Panda series.
At the same time, I'm glad Nickelodeon picked this up because that network really needed something to push them up from the garbage hole of networks nowadays.
Yeah. You don't get as much good stuff these days. Now, what are we gonna do next?
Next week, we are going to tackle Kung Fu Panda 3.
Yes, the movie comes out
January the 29th. We'll be doing it the very next day on January the 30th.
Yeah. So we will try not to put any spoilers in it. We will try to just go watch the movie and give you a good review of the movie. Let you know how it compares to the first movie and the second movie. But again, be sure and hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. That's the only way you get notices that we're throwing out more videos. We do have a hint that we may be starting another series or two soon. So be sure and tune in.
Check out that associate.
Check out the new series that will have coming soon.
Give us a sound effect, sir.
Oh my!
Yes, we have a new series coming.
No way.
Yes.
Yes, we have a. And is that all we have to talk about right now?
I believe that's about it for this episode.
Okay, and then see you next week.